Governor, Phil Matier, ABC7 and KCBS. A number of elected officials and law enforcement people have said that police, arrests, enforcement is good, but it only works if there are consequences, if there are follow-ups. You said that you don't want to step back or roll back or walk back the judicial and reforms that have been made in recent years, and yet you also are keenly aware of the way people are feeling. So what do you tell the people going forward in terms of consequences?
There should be consequences. Laws are laws. You break the law, you should be held to account. Now, the approach around adjudication, many different approaches in terms of how we actually can address the issues long term, and whether we have diversion programs where we deal with the underlying issues, behavioral health issues, deal with other underlying issues, poverty and all of those issues. Big part of our violence intervention program, this VIP program, where we put $200 million for grants and evidence-based solutions in that space. And so we're committed to that. As it relates, though, to the prosecution, we want to support the DAs, we want to support the investigators, we want to support police and community leaders, retailers and others that are fed up with the lack of consequences. You break a window, you smash and grab, you take other people's property, that's wrong, period, full stop. Period. There's no justification for that in any way, shape, or form. Now, what we are experiencing at scale has nothing to do with felony thresholds. They blow through that in the first few seconds of these activities. I mean, this is millions and millions of dollars, organized rings. You can see the photographs behind me. I mean, this has nothing to do. These laws we put on the books are sideshows to what's happening in an organized way. And the rules are the rules, the laws are the laws, and we just want people to be held to account. We want to help with the enforcement and help with the investigation. But again, you can't condone these activities. We never have, I never will. At the same time, you can do that and reform your system, reduce recidivism, improve your reentry programs, address these underlying issues in real time, and I'm committed to that and resolved to that. I'm just sick and tired of this either-or debate, which I think is rather lazy and unfortunate. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to try to drive to improve public safety, and a lot of these reforms have actually enhanced public safety, and the data bears that out. Right now, we have an issue that needs to be addressed more forcefully, and the state needs to help support local law enforcement and local leaders in this endeavor.
Well, one quick follow-up. Local law enforcement repeatedly say that one of the problems or challenges is the zero bail policy, where people are arrested and then they just walk out. I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, Bobby Kennedy, in 1968, as the Attorney General of the United States, eliminated bail for federal crimes. There's a lot of debate around bail. It was referendized here in the state of California, so it's not in effect. There was a legislative process, you know well, that advanced some bail reform. The Judicial Council of the state of California, independent Judicial Council, moved forward during the pandemic because of the circumstances around the pandemic. But bail reform, I think, is important. But again, I think we're too quick to judge this or that reform as somehow the reason we're experiencing what we're experiencing today. I would express that with some learnedness, and I hope it will be considered accordingly, and that is when you look back to 2000, 39 states have increased, for example, this is aside from the bail issue, they've increased their felony thresholds. As I noted, if you include, I think, Vermont, and check me on that, that's at $900. We have a $950 felony threshold for retail theft. That's in line with 31 other states. And so it's about average. And so once we established that in 2014, we saw property crimes decline in 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We came into the pandemic with some of the lowest crime rates in California's recorded history. Property crime, arguably, in its history, going back to 1960s. Is that the reason? Was it those laws that are responsible for that decline? If those laws are now responsible for the increase, were they not responsible for the decline? These are debates that are important, but they're not why we're here. I think that is a sideshow to the issue that presents itself today, which is the imperative of getting on top of these organized retail theft rings and these organized efforts that have created tremendous fear and anxiety to many Californians. We can discuss the impacts across the spectrum of why you're more likely to be a victim of property and violent crime in Texas than California, why counties that have conservative DAs, conservative sheriffs, elected sheriffs, conservative leadership have higher murder rates than other counties in the state. We can adjudicate all that at a later time and look at the why, the underlying reason you're seeing these activities across this country. But right now, we want to get on top of them, address them head on, and we'll have ample time to discuss the merits of these broader policy reforms, including bail reform. But right now, let's hold these folks to account and address this issue head on.
Thank you.